15th, even 20th place back at times. Playing a dangerous game as now he's moved up on the far side with Jai Hindley trying to make it up the road.
Yeah, well, Hindley moving forward to Primoz Roglic. Well, I guess I wouldn't call it playing a game. He's just having to undergo this stage and just make the best of it as he goes along, and just been in the position of sort of chasing all day long while the others are more aggressive in their ride. Well, Jonas Vingegaard not aggressive, but he's responding very well to the aggression and hasn't missed a beat just yet. Turning off this sector, or at least through a corner of it, off it now. That's the end of the sector, so a one-star sector just over 2k long. It's now just 7 kilometres to sector 8, which is a 3-star sector, 3,900 metres. That's what they're going to be worried about next.
What a sight. It was always potentially problematic, wasn't it? But it might even be perilous this today now. And a real battle just to be in the right place. That wind's still causing almost as many problems as the gravel under the tyres. Keep your eyes on the bikes as well. Remember when that group of 3 went away there, Jonas Vingegaard was still on Jan Tratnik's bike.
And I don't think he's had a chance, has he, to change just yet? I actually haven't taken a look at the frame number on his bike to double check that, but certainly the race has been moving rapidly ever since he made that swap.
Off sector 9, but there's 8 to go. And every time we get near one, there are nerves. Every time we get near one, that gap closes a little bit, Sean. It's 52 seconds now. The breakaway has broken up into 2. We're minus Van der Lascano now, but Romo's still there. Aramburu's there at 15 seconds. You're looking at Bettiol here. It's just a case that there's riders all over the road.
Well, it's going to be that situation, as we can see. The man from Decathlon here, he's having a difficult day, Gal, because this is not his terrain at all. He doesn't like this sort of stuff, but you know, he has to fight there because he's a man for the general classification, and yeah, he wants to be in a place where he can strike in the big mountain stages and pull back a lot of time. But yeah, this is going to continue on in the same situation. But the breakaway, you know, they got the second bite of the cherry as such, because the race situation coming across with the 3 big favourites, and now they're out there again. But still, every time we come to a gravel section, it's going to be the same situation. The gap will come down very quickly because of the fight back in the group of favourites to keep that good position. Their teams are going to drive it on.
Robbie, Adam's asking me where's Remco sitting. He thinks he might be too far back.
Little bit further back, but still within this group. And you look at the back of that group now, they're more bunched up across the road. You see they've got through the worst of that little crosswind section that's sprung up over the top. A few riders tailed off, just chasing their way back on, including Davide Formolo and Lawrence de Plus. But the big GC favourites all safely ensconced in this group. Remco just a bit further back than the others at the moment, but safe
for now. 146 back to the polka dot jersey. A couple of riders here riding at the front.
There's Remco.
Pogacar, 2 more wheels behind. Remco on the south, well, the bottom of your picture, just on his wheel, by the way, is Primož Roglic. So they're sat together.
Mid-group, there's Mathieu van der Poel, who, since those early couple of accelerations on this stage to join bigger breakaway attempts, he's just been sitting in this group, riding along, not riding aggressively, just biding his time, but gee, he looks good.
Listen to Remco's team, yep.
Also remember, Remco, Vingegaard is still on the bike of Tratnik. He's still on the bike of Tratnik.
Well, you heard that from Tom Stales. We mentioned it could be the case. Sean, is that something they've got to think about in the front? Or they do their own thing?
Well, maybe there's something to read into that, and that's why we see Remco going in the attack, not allowing Visma to give the opportunity for Vingegaard to change bike and, you know, keep him under pressure in that way. And yeah, Remco is probably looking already at the, you know, this race when it finishes in Nice. 2 weeks time, let's forget, it's a long, long road to get there. But yeah, maybe he feels that this is an opportunity to take some time, and that was the reason to go in the move there we see a bit earlier on.
"61 kilometres to go. We're less than 8 kilometres, 8 sectors to go now. 8 sectors to go, less than 3 kilometres to get to sector 8. And UAE Emirates are on the front alongside Visma Lease bike. Ineos Grenadiers in and around Carlos Rodriguez.
All our viewers on Eurosport were away on a break. We've just been discussing the fact and hearing over the race radio from the Soudal Quick-Step team that to remember that Jonas Vingegaard is still on the bike of his teammate Jan Tratnik. They are of a similar stature, but Jonas Vingegaard 175 centimetres, Jan Tratnik 173. And the way they're built, I would assume, and I'm pretty certain that Jonas Vingegaard would ride a slightly higher saddle height than Jan Tratnik, so he's probably sat a little bit low to what is ideal for him. And I had the impression that through that quick-step radio communication, they'd quite like it if the pace stayed high to keep him on the wrong-sized bike. Even if it doesn't end up being the difference today, you've got to do everything you can throughout the 3 weeks to keep your opponents on the back foot.
The pace high, Sean, even at the front here, still 7 seconds between these two at the front. But not just the pace being high, but there's not much room between gravel sectors now to stop for a planned bike change, is there?
No, that is the problem here. It's not like in a normal stage where you have, you know, just asphalt road all the time and you can make the change and get back in the cavalcade of cars. This is a real complicated one, getting in after a mechanical or bike change, because when you go on to the gravel sections, you know, this group is going to blow apart again, and if Vingegaard go changing a bike, they will definitely up the pace, and that will blow a lot of riders out. So then there are gaps all over the place, and you have to try and, you know, get across all of those gaps. So he's waiting and hoping they will have a chance where there's, you know, a number of kilometres on the normal road to make the change quickly. But for the moment, they feel it's too risky.
2 kilometres to the next section, 3-star section, nearly 4 kilometres long, and Remco Evenepoel sitting in the back of that group. Not a big group, so not overly complicated to make a move towards the front, but you're inviting danger. If you sit back, others see it, and they say, well, now let's get him under pressure.
Coming up to the next sector. On the books at 58 k's to go. You can just see the sponsors' holdings put up through what is normally a quiet, peaceful residential road in the middle of the Champagne Hills. In 58 k's time, there's going to be a cork popped. There might also be a consolation drink or two if anybody loses time. Here at the front, Derek G's done quite the job. Ben Healy's still with him. Alexei Lutsenko, Thomas Pidcock, and Jasper Stover. 5 seconds to the next 3 riders, including Aramburu, as well as his teammate Romo. Turn onto the next sector. Here we go. Sector 8. Not even halfway through the sectors yet. 3.9 kilometres long this. Finishes in Magnon. Looks as though we're about to get contact between the two groups and have 8 at the front. Behind, keep your eye on Jonas Vingegaard. Keep your eye on Visma Leasebike, because we see riders going wide into the grass there. Oh dear.
Well, I was just going to say, Rob, the complication here is going to be with the turns. You saw the piling up of the gravel in the middle. Before I got a chance to say it, they've gone over that pile. You completely lose traction, hard to take the corner. So really pay attention to that when what's left of the peloton comes through, the group of favourites. That is the type of thing when your concentration levels are down, you're under pressure, you can make a mistake on that sort of section through one of the bends, loose gravel, off you go into the field.
Look at the size of those stones, and no wonder they're fighting to have the right line here. They'll have been getting that information. We've been getting it all day long about certain sectors. These teams will have been much more meticulous than we have been in the preparation to see each and every entry and exit. There they go, left turn, across the bridge, on we go. It is UAE Visma Leasebike, and a reminder, yes, Jonas Vingegaard, defending champion, is still on his teammate's bike. It's not just the saddle height, but also the length of the stem. Tratnik riding a 140. Apparently Vingegaard rides a 125, so there's a 15 difference in reach there.
Yeah, they're more stretched out, and here we go.
And on the left,
same
it's
Remco Evenepoel.
Oh, Evenepoel has been caught up. He's on the stones, and Remco Evenepoel, who wasn't right at the front, is in a little bit of trouble now, Robbie.
But exactly what we just spoke about. We saw it happen in that front group, through the bend, across the middle, where you've got that hump in the middle of the road, either side of, in the middle of where the tyre tracks are, accumulation of gravel, and there's a number of them who've got that wrong. And Remco Evenepoel, now he was aggressive about 10 kilometres or so ago. Now he's got a little bit of a chase on his hands on the radio too, through to the team and to Mikel Landa. He likes someone to drop back, or someone. He needs Landa to drop back and try and pace him back on.
Emmerich Mas just alongside him, struggled to pick his own lines. You could see Felix Gall, who struggled all day. But Evenepoel, not with a wealth of teammates here, Sean, and 150 metres in distance. But all of those riders and a lot of traffic to get through.
Yes, a lot of traffic to get through, and you know, you have to be able to read what's coming up from the director sportif as well, get the information, and be exactly in the situation where you need to be. And you know, Remco, you know, going a bit too far back there, that is playing with fire big time. And you see, he gets caught out, and then you have to make that effort to get back in, and he will get back in, of course. But all of those efforts, you know, can pay at the end of this one, and still just, you know, 56 kilometres to go. As we can see here, he's going to have to make a big effort to get back into the end of the group of the other riders that he needs to be, more notably Pogacar and Vingegaard.
And there's still almost 2 kilometres of this sector to go, Robbie.
And see what Remco's just done there. He's once bitten, twice shy. He stayed on the right-hand side. Instead of trying to apex the corner, follow the wheel track around the outside to not have to go across that really loose gravel on the inside section of the corner. So the chase continues for Remco. Still no Mikel Landa, who's the only teammate for Evenepoel in that front group.
Well, I don't think Landa will be much good to him here. He's a rider that's going to, you know, just fight to stay in the front and allow Remco to do what he does well. Just, you know, time trial back to the end of this one, get over this section, get through it, and then hopefully he will learn for the next ones that he cannot go into a section of gravel in a situation. He has to be really in that top 5-7 riders. But that's the problem with Remco. He doesn't like that, you know, elbowing and fighting to get into the position. He's not that sort of rider. And I think we're seeing the reason he did attack. He wanted to try and get up the road with the other 2 men and just do a 3-up time trial. And that way, it's so easy then. And if you're feeling real strong, as Remco probably is, well then, it's the best way to do it. But it, you know, it did not work out for him.
No chance for breath yet. Still 1.2 kilometres to go towards the end of this sector, and that's for the group right at the top of your picture. The group that's ahead, 105 ahead. This is the yellow jersey group. This is where we concern ourselves with for the general classification, and maybe even a stage win. Let's not forget, Fondo Paul's just been following here all day long, not doing anything wrong, not committing too much. He knows racing. He's a nose for it. And he's continuing to follow as Remco Evenepoel for the moment is back on in the group, and he's sitting on the wheel of his teammate Mikel Landa.
Yeah, it's almost like the worst of this section is over, and once they get off this sector, which is a 3-star sector, the maximum difficulty on this stage, the next 5 sectors are all 1-star sectors. They're 2.2, 1.2, 1800 metres, 1500 metres and 1.9, so they're not really long sectors. They don't seem to be particularly difficult. Doesn't mean that they're not treacherous, because it depends on the speeds, the aggression at which they're being taken. And at some point, when this group remains at a minute, and I'm not saying just yet, but coming into the last 25 kilometres, it's when the likes of Mathieu van der Poel might need to start making a move rather than just relying on it being ridden shut gradually by the teams of the GC contenders. Problems here,
and it's Zangler. Axel Zingler with an issue there and requiring help, and I'm afraid for him, near the front of the race, that is going to spell the end of any hopes of that.
Yeah, he'd already been off the group, sort of yo-yoing backwards and forwards on the harder sections. The very last thing he needed was a problem with another chase, but that's exactly what he's got. Little uphill pinch here. Well, little. It won't feel little to anyone who's struggling. That is a steep kicker. Lutsenko now putting the pressure on, and Healy going with him.
Lutsenko has won gravel races in Italy, let's not forget, the Serenissima gravel. That was one of the first races we had road riders participating en masse a couple of years ago.
Gran Camino
is looking really good.
I think he's been really good in Gran Camino in the past too. I seem to remember he smashed everybody. Stoven, a true classics rider, the Belgian. Been a winner of Milano Sanremo, but you look at any of the Belgian classics, he's always there and thereabouts, and a man doing damage on the most difficult cobbled sections. He'll be loving this.
Jasper Stuyver, who is the European gravel champion at the moment, winning on home roads and off roads up near Leuven last autumn. making a move here. Now then, Laporte. Keep your eyes. Being followed well by the yellow jersey. Fodopool is not far away. Mywhoosh still up there. Looking a little further down to see Roglic in about 15th position. Evenepoel much further back and a split opening. Evenepoel following.
We can see Evenepoel there a bit further back. Ayuso, Almeida quite a long way back, and yeah, that is maybe the sign of some of the riders from the leaders teams starting to struggle a bit. But we can see out front also everybody is starting to show the signs of the fatigue setting in here, and now it's going to be a question, how long will this be left until maybe Van der Poel goes, but yeah, Pogacar as well, he's another one that could try something from a long ways out. So as a GC man, you have to keep your eye on the yellow jersey. You have to be close to him at all times when you go through the very critical moments.
Oh, Wout van Aert struggling now, but he's been doing all that pace setting on the front for Jonas Vingegaard, so that's just starting to, well, not starting to, it is bitten Wout van Aert, but to be expected with his limited preparation coming into the Tour. But what a job he's done so far.
Hugely important, as there are 52.5 kilometres to go and 58 seconds now between the front of the race. It's Vlasov who's in this group with Gal as well. Vlasov, Sean, we've seen him hanging perilously at the back of all the groups all day long, haven't we?
Yes, well, he has been also in difficulty quite a number of times, and yeah, when you make the efforts, when you get distant, you have to make an effort to get back in maybe. All of that is paying in the end, and yeah, paying at this point is not looking good for him, because you know he's also a man I think they would like to keep up there and yeah, look after the leader in the final. But it's shown with all the teams that there is riders starting to show the efforts they've put in.
Tom Pidcock out of the GC hunting stages. This is his terrain. Came to visit this region as early as November to have a look. Now, Sturva made a move and he's been caught.
Just talking of Pidcock, Robert, and Adam's come in. He's set to join us in commentary soon when I take a rest. But Tom Pidcock starting to rock and roll, and the shoulders coming up closer to the ears. Those sort of little telltale signs. He looks like he's quite fatigued and maybe starting to struggle, while guys like Derek G and especially Ben Healy look really strong as Wout van Aert has now returned to the group. The pace has gone down, straight back to the front for Van Aert. He'll just ride until the needle has gone past empty.
And closer to the front now for Evenepoel, Sean.
Yes, well, it's not a surprise to see that Evenepoel is going to ride more to the front, and I'm sure Tom Steeles has given him directions. Okay, you have to take the risk. You have to, stick your elbows out and make a bit of room when it's not there, and fight for your position at the top of the chasing group, or the group of big favourites here. And when you get into difficulty like we've just seen there on the previous section, you cannot afford to do that anymore. And now we're getting into this final 50 kilometres. A lot to go over the gravel, but you never know with the guys that you're up against in the fight for this win in the Tour of France, so you have to be in that position.
Problems there for Binyam Girmay, who was going backwards. Was that a puncture?
I'm trying to tell if it was a mechanical, if he's just dropping back to try and get the team car and get a bit on. He's been on and off. He just made his way back on before, and we've had a crash into the ditch there.
The left-hand side into the ditch. Left-hand, it's a Red Bull Hansgrohe rider into the ditch on the left-hand side.
Had the impression it may have been Vlasov. Just caught the edge of the road.
It's up and high up, right down into that ditch there.
He's caught the edge of the bitumen, that lip where the road goes down. He's caught his wheel on the edge of it, and it was Vlasov. Just caught his front wheel and just catapulted him off the side of the road. He's absolutely dazed. Oh, this needs some medical attention.
Well, the mechanics are told here to look out for certain signs. They have cards with things to look out for.
Just watch his wheel. It's actually, I think his back wheel gets just off the edge. It high sides him off the bike straight down into the ditch. that is such a heavy fall.
Just to note that, I'm just going to come in quickly, is that he had one hand on the bar. He's got bottles down his back. So I think he was given a bottle. The back wheel just slipping down that little bit of the tarmac where Robbie just mentioned. But yeah, I'm very, very worried about him, the way that he got up there, because he was stumbling and wobbling. So I do hope.
We're just going to welcome back our TV viewers and we'll inform them of exactly what's happened. A very warm welcome back to the final 50 kilometres of stage 9 of the Tour de France. You're looking at a gap of 1:13 from the now 8 riders in front back to the yellow jersey group that has just had an enormous scare because Alexander Vlasov, teammate of Primož Roglic, has had a very nasty crash. He hit his head. He looked very dazed when he got up. Initially, you could see the mechanic sort of holding him. And I thought then that he would not be allowed to carry on. Now, this is a really difficult thing for a mechanic to have to do. Of course, there has to be a confidence in there that you can hold someone back there. You know, you're talking about somebody really important. But we know now, gentlemen, that if there's any doubt, if there's a worry, riders have to be checked before they continue.
And I'm going to be honest, that check wasn't carried out. The mechanic, it's not their area of expertise, but everybody has had to go through concussion protocol training to look for signs. The mechanic just trying to get him underway. That really, for mine, requires a head injury assessment.
This is how it happened. Look at the middle of the peloton there. This is Bernard at the back, and on the left-hand side, look at that. That's an awful, awful impact. And Sean, I could see you watching, wincing, shaking your own head. It's a nasty one.
Yes, it is a nasty one. We could see there when Vlasov got to his feet, he was a little bit shaky, dazed a bit. And the mechanic, you know, he should have held on for a bit more and do the check, as we hear about. But you know, he let him go very, very quickly. But it'll be an interesting one now to see how he looks like that. He's saying, yeah, all okay. The medical car, the medical assistant coming up. We can see the elbow. You know, a lot of blood there, but looks pretty okay now.
Now, this isn't just us freely criticising, and you know, we know this is difficult. We know this is a really difficult thing to do, and I welcome the fact that we have increased visibility around it, but it is a strange sport to do that. You can't stop the match like you can in other matches. You can't get it 2 minutes before you then restart, take them off the pitch, get them on. You have to keep them up there as well, because if he is all right, it's such a difficult thing to get right. The good news is the medical car's there, and the proper professionals can now carry out the assessment.
And they'll deal with the initial injury, the blood streaming from the elbow. They'll deal with that, but then the thing they'll be doing at the same time, asking questions, just assessing for themselves how bad any potential concussion could be for Alex Vlasov. Let's wish for the best, hope for the best for him, and the race pushes on. I'm going to push off, and I'll see you in the breakaway.
Robbie in the breakaway with Orla and Danny waiting for him. Adam will join later on. He's with me and Sean Kelly in the commentary box now. As we're on to sector 7, you've got grass in the middle. Welcome back, Adam. I know you've been watching on. You're enjoying today's stage like all of us. It is incessant entertainment.
Hey, if anyone says anything about gravel racing, they can do one. This is mint. Best racing coming day we've had so far in this Tour de France. But there's a few things interesting in there that I messaged you about, Rob. And it's UAE and Visma. You know, UAE have got the yellow jersey. They should be taking control of this race, but they're not doing it. And they are doing it at times, but it's almost like Visma Lease bike and UAE are having that. I can't really say what I said to you on a message. The windmilling.
You can't.
The windmilling. They're trying to show who's strongest. They're trying to show who's the best team. They're trying to show we're stronger than you. No, you're not. We're stronger than you. But they don't need to. They can benefit from just playing their mind games, thinking, letting them think they're better as they enter sector 7.
And it's Wout van Aert who is still there, coming back after being dropped earlier on. That yo-yoing of the gap continues. It's 1:18 right now. And at the front, Van Aert is about to be joined by Joao Almeida, who moves up.
Did a fantastic ride for Joao Almeida. Ayuso's in there as well. Both of UAE and Visma Lease bike, both with 4 teammates around their leader. So 4 teammates for Jonas Vingegaard, 4 teammates for Tadej Pogačar. It's perfect for them so far. The perfect situation, the right amount of support. Wout van Aert just yo-yoing to and from the peloton. Every time he gets dropped, he comes back on, delivers over the next gravel section. Remco staying.
Listen to the chaos down there. The horns beeping, the crowd screaming, riders shouting.
Yeah.
So much going on as they're into this headwind on this little bit.
Remco right up towards the front now as well. He's not making that mistake again as we see Gamay getting back into the fold.
Wonder watch today. Could it be a hat-trick?
And maybe treble ahead.
Now then, a little further back, a nod, and look at that, there's blood everywhere as well. That really was a nasty one. I mean, it's nice to see him okay and back. Let's hope he's feeling all right at the end of this and he can continue. Thankfully now, he has had the correct attention he required.
Yeah, fingers crossed for Vlasov. I'm getting intrigued to know with 45Ks to go here. Is this group just doing this now as a GC group, as they treat on a mountain stage, but they've done the big mountains and now it's a case of getting to the finish safely? Or is one of these guys thinking of a stage win? Because if they're not, the likes of Van der Poel, Gamay, what are they going to do in this situation now? Because this is when it starts to get interesting. The attacks come for the stage win within the peloton. The GC riders start to follow that as well. It's a game now of stage win, GC. Sean, what do you think?
Well, I think for Gamay, it's all about just hanging on here and trying to get through and see what the situation is at the very end in the final sector, the final two sectors that we can see here. You know, more difficulty just coming off, and that is the danger point. When you come off the gravel, the sandy road, you come onto the tarmac and the dust there. We often see the Paris-Roubaix where you can slide out, but I think with the 113 back to this man, the yellow jersey, this is going to be a real danger one, because Pogacar is going to try something here in the final. When he well, onto the grass, it's not a problem there. Dry, plenty of grip, just leave it run a little bit wide and do not panic at all. But yeah, this race is going to, you know, explode, I think. And at what point will it be? That is the big question. And you have to be ready here. As a GC man, I think, yeah, the others will have to take big attention to Pogacar, because we know the style of racer he is. He is going to try something in the end, and you have to be, you know, just alert at all times. And as you get closer to the finish, you have to get more and more focused and watch where he is and be ready to make the move with him, because he will go through a gap. If you have teammates around him, he take that 20-30 meters in advantage, unless you're really good, to close him down. But yeah, the interesting one will be the world champion as well. He's just sneaking around here all day and just following the wheels. He's another one, I think. If he's on his day, he's definitely going to, you know, blow this group apart.
We're on to the longest sector without gravel roads now until we get on to the next one, and until we get to the finish, in fact. Now, there's a chat going on here. I'm intrigued as well as to see what you said about Van der Poel, because it's a different Van der Poel performance, this, isn't it? Normally it's sort of heart on sleeve, out there, flexing his muscles. This is clever. This is following, as Sean was just saying.
This was, I forgot what race it was last year where he rode Liège. Liège where he was second, always on and off, yo-yoing, but he got second. He's got a good chance today, but he needs to catch these guys first.
Well, the new situation remains like this. 8 riders, 1:16 is the gap. Back towards the Lac d'Orient, which we passed earlier on today. And we now have 4 one-star sectors approaching, and then 2 two-star sectors to finish off. The last of which finishes with 6.5 Ks from the finish.
Remco and Tadej were just having a little chatter as they came out of there, and then we saw the attack earlier from Remco, Tadej chasing him down, Jonas getting on the wheel. That came to nothing as we see an attack from Michael Matthews.
So does this launch Mathieu van der Poel into his search for the stage, Sean? Are we going to see a reaction now?
Well, talking about Van der Poel, we can see there's more reaction, and who will do the chasing here? There we go.
And now Van der Poel goes. Girmay follows. Now Van der Poel goes, Sean.
Yes, well, I think the moment there's 2 or 3 going out of this one, and he just waiting for just a second to see what they're going to be a reaction from UAE, from Bisma, and if there's no reaction there, bang, this is the moment to go here. But, you know, 124, if the GC teams kept putting on the pressure like they have been all day, well then it wouldn't be a problem for the likes of Van der Poel to come out of this group and get across. But you cannot allow riders, fresher riders, to get out of the peloton here, and you know, that could be a problem one, as we can see he's trying to come across here.
Rasmus Tiller here at the front with Michael Matthews. Rui Costa is chasing behind as well, Adam.
Yeah, it's full slang as well. The rider from Israel Premier Tech that looks to be in that group with Gamay and Van der Poel there, just sat on the back, as you mentioned, Costa coming across to it. But look, the GC group behind there is just focused on GC. They're not bothered about the stage win, and that's why we've got Bling going off the front with Tiller being chased down by Gamay, the rider from FDJ. Is it Godou?
That's an effort, isn't it?
We are in for a treat here today.
And they go again. More moves. Cofidis this time. 130 back to this group. 20 seconds quickly for the Matthews group.
All right, done with those.
He's going to join.
Unbelievable. Fair play. Did not expect him to hit up here. It shows how hard it's been today, even with the gravel, and even though it's been very technical, very slippery inside it, it is impressive for him to be up there.
Well, he has to get up here, because in the end of the race starts between the big favourites, and you know, it will all blow apart. That's where he will be in difficulty. So, you know, take the advantage. And we have seen Guillaume Martin many times. He loses 10 minutes, he gets into a break, pullbacks 5, loses 3 the next day, and he's yo-yoing that GC classification. And yeah, to read it here, you have to get out. And where isn't the GC standing as well, you know, he can do that.
UTV viewers, I should say, rejoin us with it all kicking off. You might be able to tell. 40 Ks to go, and Mathieu Van der Poel has made a move and followed a move. Michael Matthews made it. Biniam Girmay followed. But I tell you what, I'm not sure anybody had David Gaudu and Guillaume Martin on their bingo cards for getting up the road today. They can shout bingo now. They are up the road. This is Martin, the latest to join. It looks as though he's about to be reeled in. The Van der Poel group at 112 with green jersey Biniam Girmay there, as well as Rui Costa, Jakob Fuglsang, Rasmus Tiller. Matthews, we mentioned, having started the party.
Big group coming back together here as now, Rob. That peloton we saw in the previous shot there, all getting back in. Marc Soler getting back in. So this move here by Matthews, perfect time when the peloton's just leading up ever slightly. It's all coming back. So those UAE riders, the Visma Lease bike riders, the quick step riders, they'll all have that extra help for positioning coming into the next section. These guys don't have to worry about that. They've jumped off up the road in search of stage victory today, whereas the GC riders, stage win, no stage win, they're bothered about time, not necessarily the result on the stage.
And given the composition of this group, time on each other, a reminder, up the road, the most dangerous rider remains Derek G at 5 minutes 52, with a current gap at 2 minutes. He is not coming sufficiently back into the GC to worry any of the big favourites.
And that's why we got Fuglsang in that second group, sat on the back, not doing any turns at the minute, so just letting the riders swap off. Great situation for them. If they do catch them, they'll have a fresh Fuglsang to play with. Fresher, not fresh.
And here he is, Jakob Fuglsang, another of those riders that down the years in Strade Bianche has been right up there. Second in 2019.
Sorry, and the same with Costa with Ben Healy up the road.
Sounds as though, looked as though Costa was just given his orders then, because he only then moved to the back of the group.
Not surprising. I mean, if you're in that front group, yes, there's some very quick men in there, but the last thing you want to do is bring the green jersey wearer, two-time stage winner already this year in the Series Tour de France, Biniam Girmay, not only him, the world champion.
So 2:02, an extra minute for the breakaway on the yellow jersey group. And this now is the group of stage hunters who are in search of their big success. Sean, you've just been talking about Van der Poel and how he played it differently and cleverly. Was he still reacted there rather than was proactive, but he's in the fight now?
Yes, he is in the fight, and we can see there he's just tapping it away in the front, just doing his turn, and we talk a lot about that, do as little as the rest.
So guys, full concentration. If he's still not there, riders are tired, riders are nervous. Use your brain, in and out, and keep it focused.
The voice of Tom Stills speaking to Remco Evenepoel and Michael Landa at the front of that group. Evenepoel sitting second in the general classification at 33 seconds from Tadej Pogačar. If they're to get home safe here, no time difference to Pogačar. Stage win and second on the GC, white jersey after the first block of racing. That would be some start to the Tour for Soudal Quickstep and Evenepoel, wouldn't it?
Amazing start. I mean, for a start where he was unsure of where he'd be at in terms of that, then, yeah, fantastic start. Just get through today safely, as you said, Rob. Go into the rest day with a good position right up there, second on GC. I don't think he could really ask for anything more.
Now in this group we have Van der Poel, who has one stage of the Tour de France to his name. Of course, he's the world champion. He's got a host of other races to his name. Michael Matthews has won stages here in the past as well. Rui Costa, he knows about winning stages at the Tour de France. He's been a former world champion, he's the current Portuguese champion, and he's a wily old competitor. And Biniam Girmay, who has two stages from this very edition. So it's a group of winners chasing this group again. Winners in their own right. A couple of riders have wins at the Tour in the past, but with much fresher legs and minds, you'd suggest.
I'd say so. I mean, this man here, he's tried for 2 days. Remember yesterday, Alberto Bettiol trying to get him into the breakaway. We heard from EF on a phone call, a team's phone call, that they are really targeting this stage. The main rider being Healy. He got across to this break today, but Ben Healy not got the quickest sprint on him. But he has got one of the most explosive, sort of that 2-3 minute block of powers where he can really put riders under stress. He's better at doing that on short, sharp climbs or on a gradient that goes uphill. And there's not much climbing left to go, so he's going to be very, very tactical about it. He's really going to have to use his head, especially with these guys down under a minute now, 54 seconds chasing them down.
Time is being taken out, as Adam was saying. This stage has been absolutely superb as a spectacle. But decisions are still to be made. We're getting to the business end now. There's a lot of gravel to come. And what a situation this is. Sean, in this group, how do you play it, in this chasing group here?
Well, you just have to ride as much as the others are doing, and hopefully they will start tiring out front a little bit. But with a Van der Poel, for example, you know, he is the one you'll be always concerned about when you get onto the gravel sections. When he hits you, if you're not in a great shape, it's going to be pretty much impossible to follow him. But if you're in a bad shape, there's no chance at all, because he will go around those corners as well so much faster. And you know, we've seen him so many times. He's bike handling, and when he gets within that, you know, 30-40 seconds, the guys out front, they've been out there a long, long time. He would bridge that gap, you know, over one section. And when you talk about what's to come, Rob, there's so many difficult sections to come, all on the flat, of course, and it all depends on, you know, how much power you have left. And you know, Ben Healy as well, he would like a more lumpy stuff, but again, he's a fighter. And on the flat here, you know, on the gravel, it's all about how much power you have left on the legs. So now 54 seconds, you know, to this chasing group, they have to close it down a bit more, get it down to that 25-30 seconds, and then you could bridge across. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see how much they're going to be able to contribute out front to hold on to this advantage.
Surrounded by champagne vines. Today has been vintage so far. 35 Ks to go. There's the Van der Poel group.
It is 5 versus 8 at the minute, let's not forget as well. With Langen, Rui Costas is sat on the back, those guys not tapping through, going back to the bottles in the car. There's only 5 of them rotating in that Van der Poel group with Girmay in there, because the other 2 sitting on. 8 riders in the front. Yes, they've been out there all day, but they really do have to work together, and they can't afford to mess around. They can't afford to look at each other. So as we've seen, out of 53 seconds, now back up to 56, just with that little momentary look around, especially into this headwind as it is.
2:18 now, back to the yellow jersey group and into this big headwind here. And after that last group went, the situation settling as much as it can at this point before we go to the next sector. It certainly looks like now, Sean, that the stage win is coming from the front two groups, doesn't it?
Yes, you would expect that, but again, there is a lot of sections still to come and a lot of gravel, sandy gravel roads to be negotiated. And you know, if they really start kicking on with some of the teams that still have got numbers back there in that group of the big favourites, you know, they could pull back a lot of the advantage. And then if they start attacking from behind, but the problem is the men we have got here with Van der Poel, they have come out of the peloton much later in the day, so you know they will be quite fresh and have a lot more to give here than the guys in the breakaway, of course. So it looks like that it should be from the men that are out in the front here, where the GC men, they're just putting their teams on the front here and setting this pace for the moment.
This is going to get exciting now as well, especially with the size of this group, with more riders being involved, with more teammates able to come back to the GC riders. They'll have more firepower, they'll have more riders to accelerate going into the next section of gravel, have more firepower across the next section of gravel as well. So I can only imagine this group here, things are going to get even more intense within that group. They're going to get more stressful, there'll be more fighting than there was before as well. So even though they're getting closer to the finish and riders are getting tired, it's only going to heat up within that group.
34 kilometres remain. We are just a few hundred metres now from the next sector, Sector 6. It's got a strange old name for what they're about to endure anyway. Rue du Paradis. It'll feel like hell when they're on it. Sector approaching, Sector 6, and 6 remain. A right turn here, off the main road, and for the leaders who remain Pidcock, Sterling, Healy, G, Aramburu, Romo, Lutsenko, and Turgis. The next test under the wheels. 1 minute and 2 behind. Matthews, Gaudu, Van der Poel, Costa, Fulsang, Girmay, and Tiller. The latter hoping to produce a performance that would be quite the emotional story. At 2:21, you have the yellow jersey group. Twists and turns through the fields here. Sector 6 then. It's the Chemin Blanc du Rue du Paradis, 1.2 kilometres long. It's a one-star sector, one of the easier sectors, one of the flatter sectors as well now. Looking around there from Lutsenko. Second wheel who's Stover, who's attacked before. Yeah, you've seen that wind getting strong. The flags were really blowing, weren't they?
Yeah, you can just see in the speed that they're going along, you know. You just look how easy it is behind freewheeling on the wheels. If you're at the back here, you'll save massive amounts, you know. You're running the risk a little bit of not having that clear line through, but you look at that beautiful blue Yorkshire flag in the background, how much it's blowing. But it is very, very windy indeed out there, and this is a point where if these guys start to try and maximise that sitting on the wheel time, this group could edge itself closer, even though it's gone out to above a minute.
Has gone out ever so slightly. Kilometres are ticking down, but slowly. Let's have a look now. Costa just moving up there.
These sections of gravel, we heard from Hannah a while ago saying then filled in the potholes. We see Van der Poel come to the front. They filled them in, but filled them in with gravel.
There's a fight going on behind, and it's for the entry again. A reminder that placement before or onto these sectors is just as, if not more important for the GC guys, the movement on them. And it is ferocious, Sean Kelly.
It is ferocious. We can see there, you know, the chopping, just trying to keep a position or get into a better position. And this is going to be the case all the way over the, you know, the final sections. And Will they be a team of the GC really want to push it on here? Because over 2 minutes down on the leading part of the race now, that'll be an interesting one.
Oh. Sorry, I was just watching Tadej Pogacar going around the outside and I didn't see his teammate on the left. I thought he was going to do a little manoeuvre into it, accelerate. We've seen Remco attack already. Surely if he's willing to attack once, he's willing to attack twice.
Well, you've got Pogacar's team really pulling it on front here. This is Wellens with Pogacar on the wheel. Then you have to go back to Laporte. After that, it's Jorgensen. Vingegaard is quite far down now because Roglic is further behind. Vingegaard, in fact, just appears from behind the wheel of Matteo Jorgensen. But the wind blowing that you were talking about, that blue flag there, I'll leave any other words to describe it to you. That's a good Lancastrian. It is blowing strongly. It's blowing into faces across the road. It can split naturally on these things. It can split even more if you've got the wind as well.
Can do indeed. And Remco just behind Ciccone there, about 10th wheel down. He's got Roglic on his wheel. He's got a teammate behind him. Then he's got Adam Yates sat there as well. UAE doing a fantastic job today on each section they've been delivering. So is Christophe Laporte, Wout van Aert, but especially Laporte today. You've seen him on every section coming into the entry with Jonas Vingegaard on his wheel, Jorgensen as well, Teilhard de Ineos Grenadiers. They've all been there at the right time.
Top four on the GC remain unmoved at the moment. Now this group's chopped around 10 seconds off the gap. Behind in the yellow jersey group, all of that ferocious fighting we saw, Sean. It's taken 30 seconds almost out the group since the start of the sector.
Yes, and we're seeing that all through the day. When the big breakaway was out early in the day, it was always the case when they pushed on in that group of favourites, they were going to, pull back the advantage big time. As you see, Ben Turner there just being pushed off a little bit. But the interesting one is Remco, he's trying to keep his position. We did see there, I think it was Enric Mas who chopped him a little bit and another rider. He has difficulty trying to get the position and to fight to get onto the gravel sections, and he has to try and be careful, because at any point when we get into this final, then we could see Pogacar attacking and trying to ride the final 10 or 15 kilometers on his own. And if you find yourself on the a bit further off, you're trying to get through the traffic of riders in front of you, you can have a big gap to close down again. You get out and get a clear run to do the chasing.
30 kilometres remain, just over 10 of which are off-road still. Lots of chances to attack, lots of opportunities for misfortune as well.
Yeah, these last two sections, in terms of stars and how they rate these sections, these two are right up there. I think these are a 2 and a 3-star section. This is a 1-star section, nothing to worry about.
Oh, the last two sections are 2-star sections, Adam. Until we get there, they're all 1-star sectors. And this is sector 5 for the breakaway now. But it's relentless, there's hardly a rest. 48 seconds to the Fodopool and Girmay group. 1:42 back to the yellow jersey. Ben Healy in the pink here is piling on the pressure.
So many different abilities within this group as well, Rob. We know that Stuyven has got a very good sprinter and lead-out man as well for Mads Pedersen, who's no longer in the race. Then you've also got Lysenko in there. He'll probably want to go on the attack. Pidcock quite confident in his sprint. I can imagine Healy will want to go clear. So all these tactics they'll have to start thinking about coming into this final of when to go, when not.
Sean, what do you reckon to the front two groups and how they look to you? Because Robbie's just messaged to say he thinks the front group are starting to soft pedal a little, thinking about attacks in the finale.
Well, I think we can see that when you look at the front group, they're just rolling together there, but not over pushing it at the moment. And I think they're waiting. They're all looking at each other, and nobody wants to really push on and give that bit effort more than the ones that are with him. And that is what you have to do. Being out there for a long time, they're also thinking the group behind. We're seeing that at 50 seconds back to the Van der Poel group. They're thinking about that as well. So as long as it's that advantage, they probably will try and get as closer to the finish as possible and try the attacks. But yeah, it will be an interesting one to see who's got the most out in the leading group. And will it come down to a sprint? Because we could see a rider really strong that will be able to right away finish alone here. So yeah, You have to be ready, and yeah, there's a lot of looking and waiting. And this is a sort of a time where things cool down a bit as we're inside the final 30 kilometres, and this is where you have to keep your focus, keep alert, and make sure that you're ready for this final.
Tim Wellens riding past his national Belgian flag there into a headwind here. Let's go to the radio. Ineos Grenadiers with 4 riders chasing up. This is what they're saying.
Yep, there are no more climbs, guys. No more climbs. You've done all the hardest part, okay? So it's all going to come down to positioning now.
Encouragement, trying to give them some good news after a lot of bad news today, I think.
Yes, well, no more climbs. It's not going to make it that easy. It will be a little bit better, of course, but still, when you have to race full on at the end of this stage, the way they've been racing all day, depend on freshness, how much you've got, and you could get into difficulty. You're starting to feel the fatigue, and there is a battle between the riders there, between the GC men. Well, then this could all blow apart, and you could lose 30-40 seconds very quickly in the final 15k here.
Back with Van der Poel group, still Fulsang, Costa just sitting on. Travelling at 47 k's an hour.
I think with this wind, as well as Robbie mentioned, with the groups looking like the soft pedalling, I think you can really gain a lot from sitting in the wheels here. The wind is very strong riding on the gravel section, so I think for the riders that are in those small groups, nobody really wants to do that hard work in front, and if they are doing it, it's so much easier on the wheels that nobody wants to do that work on the front. Everyone wants to do less. Nobody wants to push on that hard.
We've got the 27.5 kilometres to go now. Sean, Jonas Vingegaard's not going to get a bike change now, is it? That's that. He's got to finish on Tratnik's bike.
No, it's not going to be possible, because the gravel sections come up very quickly here, and there's not going to be the opportunity at all to do the bike change. It's always a risky one if you feel, yeah, there's a little section there where I can maybe do it, but the moment he does, if a team pushes on, you go onto the gravel, well, then you're in a real difficulty to try and make your way through there. So I think the risk is so great here, you have to just stick it out and go all the way to the finish on his teammate's bike.
Don't underestimate that as well. I mean, the way that Jonas is, he's obviously able to ride on it, but if he's comfortable or not, we never know how much this is hurting him right now, being on a different bike. The difference in position, riding across tough terrain, your whole body being tense, your back being tense. If he's stretched out a little bit more, stretching his hips a little bit more, it could be really hurting him. You know, when a rider gets off the bike, sometimes they're being leant forward more than they want to. Bad back, everything like that. So, no time to change, but we've got to decide which is more important here, and obviously staying in that group is.
Be riding to the coffee shop tomorrow on his own bike. Rest day coming up finally tomorrow.
Or he might have decided that Tratnik has got a mega position and it fits him brilliantly and he wants to change it.
Cars being taken out here. I think it's going to be sector after sector after sector coming up. 4 sectors remain, 26 k's, and here's Van der Poel. 45 seconds. He's alongside David Gaudu, maybe an unlikely actor in this group, alongside the man who tried to join him but didn't make it, Guillaume Martin. But Van der Poel is also with Girmay, Tiller, fast finishers. There's the likes of Costa, who's a wily old fox and who has a teammate further up. He has all the experience, the man who's done it many times before. Same could be said of Jakob Fuglsang, able to follow because Derek G's in the front. And this group had let the gap grow to 2.5 minutes, but with all the panic of getting on and off of each sector, it's come down to 1:30 again. And everybody wants that right position in and around their teammates.
I have to say, I was questioning Tim Wellens. I've no need to question him anymore. He is back to Tim Wellens, what we expect from him. Doing a monster job.
You might be getting a call from Machin tonight as the Mr. Motivator of the team, because you questioned his abilities or his form at the very least on the television, and suddenly he turns up like this.
I'll send the contract through, Machin.
48 seconds from this group to the chasers. And this now looks to be Alex Vlasov. No wonder he's going to be feeling everything. He is going to be sore.
taped up there as well there, Rob, so probably one of the boas on the shoe that tightens it up to make it tight around his foot. Obviously, he's got tape around it to keep that shoe on. No time to change his shoe in the final here. He's on the bike and he's back in the bunch. That's a very good thing to see. So we hope, unlike Mads Pedersen, who had some injuries that got worse, hopefully his start to get better when he climbs off that bike today.
5 stars there in terms of his effort and commitment to Alex Vlasov. He showed it at the Dauphiné here. What a warrior. The man in the Spanish Champions jersey. Let's not forget, it's not always easy to remember looking at this image, but he has a teammate in here, albeit in a different jersey. That's Javier Romo in the blue of Movistar. Now, this is the sector that a lot were worried about earlier on today. It's only got 1 star, but we were told in no uncertain terms by a colleague, in unbroadcastable language, that it wasn't in a very good state.
No, very deep gravel, quite thick in terms of millimetres deep and that kind of thing. So there's sections on there where the cars haven't been able to shift the gravel to the side of the road. It's all in the middle, it's all in strange places, but you're talking 4 or 5 centimetres deep at places. And if you get your... Oh, as we see Healy go on the attack.
Healy's moving, and there's an immediate reaction from Alexei Lutsenko. Javier Romo is in there. 4th wheel belongs to Turgis. Then you have Pidcock in the red. Staven's trying to move up a little gap back to Aramburu.
This is what Healy has to do. He has to make it hard at the right time. He has to put the pressure on the other riders and really go hard for a good 2-3 minutes. Try and crack them. We've seen him do it in the past where he can just open up that gap slowly and it grows and grows and grows and grows. Pidcock just sliding back a bit more there as we see these two once again. Visma Lisa bike versus UAE onto the cobbled section. Wow, Van Aert back on the front.
That's a difference here. They're not fighting for the entrance and exit to Ronde of Vlaanderen or Strat over the top. They're looking for each and every corner on the way into the finale at the Tour de France. Adam's going to go and get into the breakaway for his own finale. We'll see you later, Adam. Remember, there's lots to check out today as we see an issue now on the left-hand side for Tiller. Gaps to close. Girmay losing the wheel as well, Sean.
Yes, well, I think we see him on a number of occasions losing contact, and yeah, he seems to be under a little bit of difficulty here. But again, you know, you just keep on fighting there and get back after the gravel section, or if maybe before that. But yeah, to be interesting to see who's going to be the strongest here out of this leading group. 43 seconds at the moment back to the Van der Poel group. And not eating into the advantage, you know, very quickly, and it will be a big ask for somebody to come across out of that Van der Poel group, and all depend how good some of the guys here on the leading group. As we can see, the fight again to get onto the gravel section in the GC men's group here. 136. It's looking like that is, you know, this is going to be a one where they're out for the stage victory, but yeah, for the overall standing they could have lost still happen here in this final 22.3 kilometres.
Looking around there, and Pollitt just seemed to be distance. There was a line of Visma Lisa bike riders with Tadej Pogačar right in the middle in the yellow jersey. All those accelerations, chopping time up the gap as well, 134. Healy's really trying to push on him.
And he has to be careful with the men he's with here. You know, when you push on the gravel, you put the riders under difficulty because they make a big difference.
Pogačar, sorry Sean, Pogačar's on the move. Look at this. He's not content with what he's got, and he's already putting time into those behind. Evenepoel's distance, Roglic's distance, and look at Vingegaard fighting with every little last bit of energy to try and hold the wheel of his teammates. At the minute, there's a danger he might not survive that. Evenepoel coming across himself. Land a little further back now, Roglic on the right-hand side. He's following the wheels of the Bahrain victorious jerseys. It's Pogačar who has Laporte marking, and behind Vingegaard, he's really fighting. He's digging deep, but he's just struggling to hold that wheel of Jorgensen, Sean.
Yes, and the teammates need to look around a little bit, as we can see here. You know, they're starting to look around to see where their leader is, and yeah, he's causing problems here. The man who were expecting to go in the attack here, he was always up for this one.
Go full on this one is the call. He's done just that. He has a little bit of a gap now. Is he going to continue? You'd guess so, looking behind. But Visma Leasebike have the men and the numbers here to repair this damage if they can, Sean.
Yes, well, we can see there that they're just waiting up, and you know the European champion Laporte is just looking around, doing a great job for his leader here, and it is going to be a difficult one with two men from Jumbo-Visma ahead of their leader there to correct this situation. And on the gravel situation, that's where it's really difficult. But you know, this man, you can never estimate his power here, even on this normal road.
Tadej Pogačar demonstrating just why we love watching him. It looked like a safe day. All of the damage had been survived. The possible chances to go. The stage win was going to those up the road. But Pogačar's decided he wants to race anyway. And he's done this damage. One group, 2, 3, 4, as many as 6 or 7 in the picture there. Sector 3 in the meantime for those 44 seconds behind the leaders. And Pogačar, by the way, is only just half a minute behind this group now. And here he is, he's got Matteo Jorgensen on his wheel. Laporte is on the radio behind. They've almost stitched the whole back together, but not quite.
Well, we've seen Laporte here. He's after giving his all there, and his effort is over. As we can see, Vingegaard coming across on his own. Jorgensen is being called here just to knock it off a little bit, get him on his wheel here and try and correct this situation.
It looks as though Laporte was running out of gas there, hence the call on the radio. Jorgensen, as you said, Sean, dropped back to help. He knows what to do off-road, of course, but Pogačar is showing all of his own abilities. Jorgensen here has to absolutely bury himself. The issue for Vingegaard and anyone else who gets back on, as you can see, Evenepoel is chasing. Roglic is not in the picture here, but if they don't quite get back, or even if they do and they're isolated, there's still 2 more sectors after this.
Yes, and they're you know, difficult sections as well, and we can see the way this group has blown apart. And it was always, you know, a possibility that we would see Pogačar going the attack in the final kilometres, and here we are, and we can see numbers here. Jumbo-Visma doing a great job. Jorgensen, you know, slowly, not really sprinting back, trying to catch Pogačar, just get his man back into the wheel slowly here. We can see Remco also, you know, fighting to get back into contention here. And yeah, this is going to probably go all the way. Although when they come back together now, the 2 Jumbo-Visma are going to just sit behind the yellow jersey, and then we could see a regrouping of that Remco-Evenepoel group.
We wait to see what the damage to Primož Roglic is. Pogačar is making Jorgensen work extremely hard just to get back to the wheel. But the American star has managed it. That's a great ride from the young man who moved over from Movistar.
Definitely got a little bit to go. So 100 kilometers plus 26. So 126. Looking at a little over 70, 80 miles. Tomorrow we have another 30 kilometers tomorrow, so that should bring us to 200. I might have to do a little bit longer tomorrow. 300. All right. We'll be good. We'll try. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. See you guys tomorrow. Let's get this Mywhoosh 300 kilometers finished. Peace.
Pogačar looking around and surveying the damage. He's only 15 seconds behind the fondo and my group now. We're enjoying a champagne finish to the first block of racing.